What's up, everybody? This is your boy Disbearity here. And yesterday, CA, or Created Assembly, wrote out a dev diary about what's to come in patch 5.2 for Total Warhammer 3. Now, I read a little bit of this, and it feels as though this is the new CA custodian team. So, what do you mean by custodian team? Well, this is the team that's basically working in tangent with the DLC team. All right. So the DLC team, in a sense, tells the custodian team on what to improve, what to put into the game in terms of new content. While the DLC team is working the DLC, they're going to work in tangent, make sure everything goes smoothly. But also they're fixing they're fixing the game. So I think this is all in all comes from Sega. Sega basically stated about a couple months back, maybe even a year ago, I don't remember precisely, that they want their game dev studios to do what they know best, and that is sticking to what they know. And when it comes to CA, it's strategy / total war. Like it's like with Atlas, it comes to Persona. RGG comes to Yakuza, stuff like that. And so this comes in light with Total War Pharaoh Dynasties that recently came out as well, or the big update. And a lot of historical fans are finally back playing their favorite historical titles, which is pretty cool. I've been enjoying a lot of Dynasties. Dynasties is fucking amazing, and I love every bit about it. So let's go ahead and get to this article here. So I'm not going to read a lot of this here, at least this first part. But what he's talking about is he's just talking about how they're doing this dead diary to showcase what they're working on in terms to Total War Warhammer 3. I'll blow it up for you guys, for y'all to read it yourself. You can pause the video if you want to, but just basically giving people an idea of what they're going to be doing when it comes to this game, and also DLC and future content and stuff. So this part I will read because this part is really interesting. So updates going forward. You will have heard the team talk about what's next in our recent YouTube video, aptly titled Total Warhammer 3 What's Next. Watch it if you haven't already. In the video, you all have heard, among other things, that our plan is to bring more to our game updates that fall in between our DLC releases, just like patch 5.2 does. These updates will allow us to tackle the things we are likely to do as part of the upcoming DLC. As you will have gleaned from the intro, this will be things like updating older features, or at times even updating races, but primarily focus in other areas of the game that we recognize haven't been priorities in the past. We are likely be in the future. Hashtag Lizardman, hashtag geometric web, hashtag. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna quit. It's important for us that we're reacting to what you want, particularly when it looking to update order content, but more on that side in a bit. Alongside updating order content, I want to make sure for each update, we're providing something new. Sometimes that will be something really small, or in the case of patch 5.2, something a bit bigger, as you see in just a moment. But for every release, I'm hoping we can provide a fresh experience in some way. It's important to note that these aren't DLC level additions or changes. And while we have people dedicated to these updates, including me, the wider team is hard at work developing the DLCs that make these updates possible. Deciding what goes into each of these updates is very much centered around what the player is asking for, but also what we have planned and are making in the future, and the feasibility of developing these ideas for you as a player. That could mean you see the number 2 and 3 things on your personal wish list added, updated, or fixed. I wonder why we have not tackled number 1. That could be because we have plans to do it going forward elsewhere, or because simply it's too difficult to tackle in one of these updates for any number of reasons. Almost never because we're unaware or haven't seen your feedback. It's not an exaggeration to say that sometimes what might be number 1 on your wish list may take some effort as the other 9 items in your top 10. That's something we as developers are constantly grappling with, and hopefully we can communicate why we choose to do certain things going forward. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the content here, what they're going to be adding. Okay, so here at the content here, patch 5.2 will come with bug fixes and other smaller changes and additions, but primarily has 4 major components and a few surprises that they won't mention. Well, here. A new feature for the dwarves, the deeps, a rework of the chaos cult feature, a new small global feature for unusual locations, an update to Cathay's Ivory Road feature. In the spirit of this being a developer diary, I'll go through the top 3 today, as those are what I've been developing. But for the Ivory Road update, you can expect changes that bring it more in line with the Chaos Doors Convoys feature. Okay, I like that. You likely know that this already, but what you're about to see is a work in progress. All text, art, mounting, well, in fact, pretty much everything you see is not only possible to change, but at stage quite likely to. Okay, so the new dwarf feature, the deeps, dwarfs, they just had an update. What? That's what you're thinking, huh? Yeah, I can read minds. As I mentioned, I'll give you some idea on why we chose to do this. In this case, there are a fair amount of feedback for dwarves based on their last update that some consider their overall playstyle to be fairly aggressive and focus on expansionist or wide playstyle. Not too surprising given this is Total War after all, but it is fair to point that fantasy of dwarves is more defensive and tall when trying my hardest to avoid any short drills here. Okay, that's kind of funny though. Ultimately, the aim of this feature is to provide more opportunity for playing taller, perhaps investing more in a fewer settlements and making what you do tougher to take. The best thing is, if you want to keep doing what you're doing, this feature is optional. It's really a playstyle dependent. I want to think this feature rounds off one of the last rough edges of the dwarves, and we wanted to take this chance to do that before we move on to other areas of the game. So what's the feature all about? All the dwarf factions will have access to the deeps. Essentially, the deeper locations in their holds. In the gameplay terms, these provide you with more room to build, with extra building slots, and complete separate building tree that allows different bits of gameplay with things you can't do with your traditional building options. There are some limiting factors though, and heavy investments is required to develop your deeps. This isn't just pure power spike for the Dawi. You'll gain access to the deeps in any settlement you own by constructing the Great Gate. The entrance that links the surface world with the deeps, it's important to note, digging to such depths is costly and time consuming. You're going to need permission from the High King to be expending such resources, and you'll need to develop your own existing deeps locations before you can expand to more. Belger and Thorgrim have a small bonus in this regard. Belger, because he has already received permission to go reconquer 8 peaks, and Thorgrim, because he is the High King. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? So you kind of get like an idea here with the Great Gate and stuff. Provides access to the deep within the settlement. The deeps will be destroyed if this building is destroyed or demolished. When built in Skavenblight, deep becomes will be unique, Zarganagron, and Cock 8 Peaks. Then it says right here, below you can see the building tree of the deeps. I won't go through every building, but I'll show you a couple cool ones. Before that, eagle-eyed viewers will notice that the build slots appear blocked. And that is because they are. There are a number of quirks involved with expanding downwards, notably blocked tunnels, which need to be dealt with. Again, there are trade-offs to using this feature. There are also stranger things you can discover in the deeps, but you have to you'll leave those for you to find out, okay, or to find. So you kind of get an idea here. So this what some of these buildings are. Actually, this one's blocked off, so that's actually really interesting, really cool. I hope that you can add in garrison units from this pool as well, but you never know. So blocked tunnels cannot be removed manually. This blocker will be demolished upon sufficiently upgrading the entrance hall building. Okay. Two of the buildings choices you'll have include the guild foundries for those like me who enjoy nice turtling, and also you can seal your hold to become the most defensive, stubborn little settlement in all the old world. This as it should be. Good luck displacing a sufficiently annoyed dwarf. So that's what I like to see. You know, so this one's the guild foundries here. Income plus 5%, turn count, oath gold plus 20%, 10%, recruitment minus 20%. Nice. And then you have seal the hold, immune to siege attrition. Ooh, local growth minus 100. Ooh, okay, that's a big hit. But you do get 500 defensive supplies. Also, yep, provides garrison 2 units, iron breakers. Okay, that's actually kind of nice. See, and I always complain about, I'm like, in my campaign stuff, I always complain like, why is it that, what do you call? I hate when upgrading my settlements to tier 3 like walls or something like that, or defensive walls, but they still get wrecked by a full-fledged army. And I also wish that CA would do this for us, is that we're able to select what unit becomes our general within these settlements, or what, wizard, what kind of wizard we get, or can we upgrade these wizards? I'm actually surprised that they haven't put in the ability to do that, especially when it comes to wizards. Like, I hate having a level 3 settlement and all I get is a fire wizard that has fireball. Wait, what kind of shit is that? Let me upgrade those wizards that can still be inside the garrison. It looks like a click of a button. You get what I'm saying? And now, Cicero, I'll leave it as top level overview of the deeps. Be sure to look out for more details. So now we're going to be moving over to the Chaos Cults feature. We're going to talk about this a little bit. All right, so now we're on to the Chaos Cults feature rework. We just saw something new with the deeps feature, and as I mentioned earlier, we're looking to both add and update where possible. So next we'll be talking about a rework of the Chaos Cults feature coming to 5.2. Worth noting, before we jump in, that everything you see here that you see applies to all 4 Chaos Gods who utilize cults. Why Chaos cults? Well, we've seen a lot of feedback on cults since their inception in Warhammer 3's release. In truth, they never really hit the mark. There's a number of things I'd highlight as the cornerstones of the issues: availability, interactivity, and usefulness. Let's go through each of those. Availability of the cults was an issue because the requirements of high corruption to spawn a cult was too difficult to achieve, just in general, but also even harder for a specifically target location. With corruption, if there was somewhere in particular you wanted cults to appear, we're tackling this by doing away with the corruption trigger of the cults entirely. And so instead, the method of spreading cults will now be cultist agent for all the new chaos factions. This is how it worked for Slaanesh before, and it's just optimal gameplay, to be honest. So it's present for everyone now. Ultimately, the fantasy is the cults create the corruption, not the other way around. You see, all the cultists now have the established chaos cult agent action. There's also something extra: the cult magus. The cult magus is the new campaign-only version of the cultist agent. They can create special cult locations and have extra building options and it benefits. Like all of the campaign-only agents, they'll disappear when using their agent action. As you can imagine, the cult magus is now managing the cult he's just established, so you can't reuse them. You'll get a new cult magus from establishing and sufficiently developing a standard chaos cult. So Lokar the Indecisive. I like the name. That's hella funny. The design for the interactivity level of cults clearly erred on the right of passiveness at release. Spawning them was largely out of your hands, and once established, not much could dislodge them. We flipped that on its head to make them more interactive, both when using them and indeed when using it against you. It'll be no surprise we do this with the discoverability feature, first used with the Skaven under cities. Essentially, building more makes you more discoverable to the region owner. The certain buildings makes you more or less discoverable, some revealing you instantly and others simply destroy the cult. As the region owner, you can discover cults in the unusual ways with agents and buildings. Once the cult is discovered, it can be removed in its usual way. Usefulness of the existing cults was a hit or miss. Certain buildings options were great, others less so. Cults now have doubled their building choices, and they also come with 2 slots instead of 1 or 3 in case of the cult established by the megas. The buildings are broken down into 4 categories. The machinations of cult focus more on ongoing benefits from the cult's presence. Corruption, which is of course focused on corrupting the region. Rituals, which are focused on providing one buff benefits, usually resulting in the destruction or discovery of the cult. And finally, the cult magus unique building options, which come with a ritual that is stronger than all others. The cult magus chambers will help hide your cult below, so you can see the Tzeentch buildings. Obviously, ignore the missing icons, of course. So that's interesting. All cults now have access to teleportation ritual. Previously, only Khorne can do this, but it was one of the few people really enjoyed it, so now it's available to everyone. There are 36 buildings across the cults, too many to show here, but in general, you'll see Tzeentch focus on his many tricks, grimoires, Khorne on his war, killing, and skulls, Slaanesh on seduction, of course, and Nurgle on plagues and how benefit more from them, and some examples of building choices. So you get the ritual summoning, pretty cool. Intricate preparations, ritual of blood, and I'm a Khorne guy, I love Khorne, and also ritual of excess. Okay, so then that's a brief overview of the chaos rework. Cults are interesting design challenge. So let us know if you have any new ideas for the cults offer. So that's really nice, really cool. So unusual locations mini feature here. So unusual locations, new mini feature. This last feature is something small, something a bit different, and unlike what you've done elsewhere in the game. Also, the section that you're at least going to want spoilers for, as you can discover content yourselves through your campaigns. So what is it? Well, you're a huge fan of world building content in games, especially if they have lore as rich as Warhammer does. And from the gameplay perspective, I've always wanted to make the world feel a bit more alive, and that is hopefully start to do more for both those things, and I want to keep working on those going forward. With the addition of this feature, there are now various unique and perhaps strange locations that can appear at your settlements. Some will be cults, some various orders, or perhaps something entirely different. One of them linked to any existing factions. They'll situate themselves at your settlement as buildings at various points throughout your campaign, and all come with effects in many cases, trade-offs, events, traits, items, or otherwise something akin to landmarks, with bringing more interactivity, uniqueness, and flavor to your campaigns. Certain instances of these unusual locations will only appear in places other others can appear in many places, and you'll be able to remove them if you want, much like you and other unwanted visitors. There are 20 in total so far. You'd like to add more going forward. As this batch are mostly focused on the old world and the races therein, I'll leave you with two simpler examples, just so you have a rough idea what to expect. In the first example, you discover the grave of a Grail Knight, well kept and providing some relief of corruption in the nearby area. Those who visit the site and pay their respects may gain a unique trait. The second example also sees you having to make decisions as one involved in the politics of the Empire. This code clearly offers benefits if you're willing to manage corruption influence. This kind of reminds me of like Age of Wonders, where like you go into like a certain spot and you get like a benefit or something different out of it. So it's actually kind of cool. So, you know, Grail Knight Grave +2 control, corruption adjacent -2, corruption -5, and also when control is 75 or more. Okay, so, and it also provides a garrison of Grail Leque and Grail Knights. So, but these are buildings, though. Okay, so here's a couple icons, a teaser. I won't spoil what they are exactly, but we'll instead just speculate until release. Okay, I like that. I like that. So my hope with this content is that you'll be going about your business, playing your campaigns, and every now and then you'll come across something unique or interesting deals and distract you if you only have a moment from your traditional gameplay. I think the more we can have that happen, the better, as it provides variety of experiences. So, shaping future updates. Hopefully you enjoyed this overview of some main content coming to patch 5.2. Hopefully it's exciting for all you as it is for us. For me personally, it's been a blast making it and looking forward to speaking with you going forward with our future updates. Let us know if you want more developer diaries in this format. Yeah. So, I definitely do like that. So, that said, y'all, with that said, I feel like CA is definitely going basically in the right direction when it comes to bringing in new content into Total War Warhammer 3. I mean, we did vote for our wallets when it came to Shadows of Change and other various conflicts that CA has, was going through. And this literally feels like that we're finally making a breakthrough and bringing back what CA used to be known for. But, this is a small thing, starting out. So, I don't want to be a pessimist about it, but it is what it is. We've got to wait and see on how CA is going to improve on this even further. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section above. How do you guys feel about the changes CA is doing when it comes to Total War 3? Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing. Make sure, if you want to, help support the channel, become a patron or a channel member. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Much love. Have a good one, y'all. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and also hit the bell notification down below. Thanks for watching.